The final bit of factoring that I'm going to teach you here is called factoring the sum and difference of two cubes. Now, cubes are things that are to the third power. Pretty much everything we've dealt with in factoring has been to the second power, or in a few cases, a multiple of the second power. Now, this is going to be something a little different. Now, I want you to look at the algebraic forms here. I have a to the third plus b to the third, and then I have a to the third minus b to the third. So these are two things that are both to the third power, okay, or where you can figure out what it is to the third power. In the reality, and then I've got a bunch of stuff written there, and we'll talk about that in a moment. The reality is that when you're doing this, you want to find out what a and d are. And we haven't necessarily talked about this, but the easiest way to do that is to take the cube root. Now, a square root is what times itself gives you the number there. A cube root is what number to the third power, or what number times itself gives you what's inside there. So what we're going to be doing to solve this and to substitute into these fairly long, complex problems is we're going to figure out what a and d are, and then we're going to substitute them in over here. Now, when you're substituting them in, make sure you don't forget to square or multiply in this back half. All right, and then you can check it by multiplying if you want. So I want to go on ahead, and we're going to just follow this form. These are the formulas that you'll use. Again, I'm not really explaining why it works. I'll explain why it works in class. This is just more for mechanics, figuring out getting the right answer. Okay, I have x cubed minus 27. So some number to the third power minus 27. Now, when you take a look at this, x cubed, well, x times x times x is x cubed. So we know that a is equal to x. Okay? And then 27, is there a number times itself 3 times that gives you 27? And the answer to that is yes, it's 3. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So b is equal to 3. Now I've got, this is a minus sign, so it's the difference of two cubes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write that formula. I've got a to the third minus b to the third equals a minus b. Then I've got a squared plus ab plus b squared. I know what a is now. A is x. I know what b is now. B is 3. I'm going to substitute it in. Everywhere there is an a, I'm going to put an x. So here's x minus. Everywhere there's a b, I'm going to put a 3. X minus 3. A squared. Well, I got x, so a squared. If you put in x, it'll become x squared. Plus ab, so I'm going to write a plus. I'm going to multiply a times b, so I got x times 3. I'm not going to write x3, I'm going to write 3x there. And then I've got b squared. Let's see, the value of b is 3, so 3 squared is 9. All right, and that is mechanically how you do that. Now you're not sure, oh boy, I don't know if that's the right answer or not. Well, if you don't know if it's the right answer, you could multiply it out. X times x squared is x to the third. X times 3x is 3x to the second. X times 9 is 9x. So that's the first number distributed through. Now let's distribute through the negative 3. Now negative 3 times x squared, I'm going to write it underneath. Negative 3x squared. And then negative 3 times 3x, that's negative 9x. And negative 3 times 9, that's negative 27. Well, it's wonderful. The 3x squareds and the 9x's cancel out. Leaves us with x cubed minus 27. This is indeed the correct answer. Okay? So when you're doing these, You've got to take some time, you've got to do a cube root, and you've got to do some substitutions. It takes practice. Let me show you another one. Wrote x to the third plus 125 up there. All right, so now I'm going to go on, this is a plus, so I'm going to write down the formula with the plus in it. Now, one of the things that may happen is people say, well, I don't need to write all that. I think you do, because that helps you substitute in. So I've got a plus b, and then I've got a to the second minus ab plus b to the second. Now, a is going to be the same. A is going to be x, because it was just x to the third there. B is 125 here out there, so we got to find out what number times itself 3 times is 125. Well, if you start to kind of go through it, hopefully you'll come up with 5. 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 again is 125. So B is equal to 5. And now we substitute in. Everywhere you got an A, you put in your A. Everywhere you got a B, you got a B. Make sure if it's squared or if it's multiplied, you do what it says. So for A, I get x plus, and B is 5. All right, A squared, well, it's x, so that's going to be x squared. Minus AB, so minus 5 times x will be 5x. And then plus b squared, well, b is 5, so I got to square it. That gives me 25. All right, now on this one and on the next one, I'm not going to remultiply them out to check it, but you can do that. This is the correct answer. All right, for the last one that I want to do for you, it's 27x to the third plus 64x. All right, now, it's a binomial, oh, plus 64. Sorry about that. It's a binomial, but you see it's to the third power, and it's a plus. So let's write our plus formula. Here's our plus. So it'll be a plus b, and then a squared minus ab plus b squared. Mr. Trapp, do I have to memorize these for the test? You don't have to memorize them if you want to write them down. Remember, I give you a little 3x5 note card where you can write formulas down. If you want to memorize it so you can write other things on your note card, that's great. But if you don't want to memorize it, well, you better put this on your note card then, because these are kind of complex. They're not too hard to memorize, but they just take a little bit. Okay, 27x to the third. I hope that you're looking at that and saying, oh, 27, we did 27 earlier. 27 is 3, so a would be 3x. And we did x to the third earlier, that would be x. And then we've got 64. What number is times itself will give you 64? I hope that you come up with 4, because 4 times 4 is 16, and when you do the arithmetic, 16 times 4 is 64. All right, after you figure out A and B, it's substitute in again. I think now that you've seen it the third time, maybe this isn't quite as intimidating. A is 3x, so we put in a 3x. B is 4, so I've got 3x plus 4 there. A squared, now A is 3x. You got to square 3x. 3x times 3x is 9x to the second. Minus a times b, you got 3x times 4, hopefully you come up with 12x there. And then you've got plus b squared, 4 squared is 16. Okay, when you run, and I'm not going to check this one, I'll let you check it on your own just to verify, but that is the correct answer. Now, this is a little intimidating. We have some larger formulas here. If you take your time, figure out what A and B are, and substitute in, it's mechanical. We're just doing the mechanics here. I'll give you a better explanation in class for why it works, but this will help you at least get the right answer. Anyway, take your time and good luck.